Joy.
Last year, you helped to make our High Holy Days incredibly special by submitting photos and videos of your family, your friends, and even your pets. Help us make this year's High Holy Days just as meaningful. We're collecting photos and videos now, from Chehekianu moments to reunions. Please be part of this year's services.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome back to another Shabbat here at Temple Beth Shalom. Our services are going to be led shortly by Rabbi Davis, by Cantor Siegel, and I see on the bima Rabbi Gary Glickstein. Great to have you all there. Those of you that are in person and those of you that are watching on Zoom, we have a lovely family lighting Shabbat candles and leading Kiddush. Sharon and Al Fine are with us tonight. As always, we encourage you to go to our website and look at all the different things going on. We are participating as well with Federation in the community response to the Champlain Towers. You can go on the website and see that. Just before we mention that videos and photos are being collected up until the end of this week for our High Holidays program. We have so much happening in the next number of weeks. The High Holidays are just around the corner, and of course there's submissions for the Yizkor book and so on. So as always, go to the website, see what's going on. You know, Rabbi Pomerantz always tells us to take a deep breath, welcome in Shabbat. And so on behalf of everyone here at Temple Beth Shalom, I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom.
Hava Nashira, come let us sing on this Shabbat. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Let's try that. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing,
come let us sing,
come let us sing, Hava Nashira, come let us sing, come let us sing, come let us sing, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let your turn. Come let us sing.
come let us sing,
Come let us sing.
come let us sing,
Come let us sing.
come let us sing.
Hava Nashira, once more. Come let us sing.
Come let us sing,
Come let us sing.
come let us sing,
Come let us sing.
come let us sing,
Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing. Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, Hava Nashira, let us sing.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Temple Beth Shalom, whether you are here in the sanctuary or you are at home or in a sanctuary somewhere else. We welcome you to Shabbat here at Temple Beth Shalom. I'm Robert Davis, one of the rabbis here, along with Cantor Siegel and Rabbi Gary Glickstein, and we're pleased to be able to pray with you tonight. Thank God it is Shabbat. I am glad it is here. A moment to pause and look at our lives and our world. If you look for it, and I hope you won't, but if you look for it, like opening the newspaper, you can always find something to be distressed about. There's no shortage. The Delta variant, the collapse of the condo just up the street from us, anti-Semitism, the demonization of Israel, wildfires raging out of control. It seems endless. And if you look for it, you can also find something beautiful. There's no shortage of hope and joy. Marriages, new babies, medical breakthroughs. There's no end to those things also. The juxtaposition of sorrow and celebration is keenly felt at this time in the Jewish calendar. Last Sunday was the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av. We remembered the destruction of the first and second temples and other tragedies that have befallen our people throughout the centuries. And this Shabbat, we celebrate Tu B'Av, the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Av. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said, "There are no days as joyous for the Jewish people as Tu B'Av. It is called a day of love." Let us enter into this Shabbat, this day of love, with compassion, hope, and gratitude for our world, community, relationships, and our lives and the very breaths that we take. Thank God it is Shabbat. And so it's my pleasure now, as we welcome Shabbat, to invite up Sharon and Al Fine to kindle Shabbat candles and do a Kiddush. This is a celebration for them. This is the 21st anniversary of their becoming members of Temple Beth Shalom. That's correct. That's what Mark Baranek told me. It's got to be true. Beautiful. And so I ask you to turn to page 2 as we kindle Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to action of kindness, peace, and love. Amen.
Continue on page 4.
Okay, you're here.
Where am I?
Yeah, this one.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the 7th day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the 7th day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the 7th day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim, and happy 21st anniversary of being here at Temple. We're glad you're here. L'chaim,
L'chaim.
exactly. We turn to page 12. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer, L'chu Naranana.
Lechu Adonai, page 12, if you want to use your page, your Siddur. Nahariya, Litzur Yishenu. Lechu Naranana, Yai Lai 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 L'Adonai, Yai Lai 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 Nahariya, Yai Lai 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 Litzur Yishenu, Yai Lai 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 Lai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu Naranana, Yai Lai 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 L'Adonai, Yai Lai 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 Nahariya, Yai Lai 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 Litzur Yishenu, Yai Lai 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 Lai. For all of the wonders and all of God's light we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu Naranana, Yai Lai 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 L'Adonai, Yai Lai 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 Nahariya, Yai Lai 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 Litzur Yishenu, Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai Lai.
And we continue welcoming Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, page 20, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. Shamo לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
Remain standing and turn to page 28 for the call to worship the Baruch Hu. Page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day and to night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
The Talmud gives several reasons for the celebration of Tu B'Av. In biblical times, you had to marry within your own tribe to ensure that land holdings remained consistent and stayed within the family. And on Tu B'Av, an exception was made, and you could marry outside of your tribe. At some point in our people's past, this custom was set aside, and we were at last permitted to marry from any tribe. So in a deep way, Tu B'Av is really a celebration of unity. As my friend and colleague Rabbi Yoshi Zweibeck writes, no matter which tribe we descend from, no matter where our ancestors wandered throughout the diaspora, no matter our political inclinations, gender or sexuality, we are bigger than our tribe. We are part of a people. Let us meditate on this beautiful aspiration as we declare that we are a part of all time and space with words of Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated.
So this evening is sort of like a love fest. We've heard about Tu B'Av, and so many of our prayers are woven around the concept of love, ahava, such as the Ve'ahavta, which is taken from this week's Torah portion in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Love, only love, this beautiful, creative, modern rendition of the Ve'ahavta on your screens.
As you're walking through the day, make this world a better place. Children will learn, and the future will be love. Love, only love, with all your heart. Love, only love, with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will remember.
In your home and on your way, make your life a voice of God. Be a sculptor for the holy. Be a doorway for love. Love, only love, with all your heart. Love, only love, with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will remember. You
Beautiful. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Micha Mocha, page 40.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati Lord, hosef ele, norati Lord, hosef ele, malchutcha ra'u v'necham, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
In just a moment, we're going to have a beautiful interpretation of the Hashkivenu prayer, which is found on page 42. And in the prayer, it says that we pray that we should be distance us, God, from wrongdoing. I like that idea of being distanced from wrongdoing. These words exist, I believe, because we have a choice. We can choose a path of wrongdoing or one that brings us closer to peace and love. And so we pray that there will be love.
And you can find those words on page 43 as well. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Once more, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Leshalom, Vehamidenu, Shomreinu L'chaim, Ufros Aleinu, Sukat Shlomecha, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We continue now with HaTefillah, the central part of the prayer service. It begins on page 46 and then continues on the even number pages. Please rise.
beginning with Psalm 51, this kavanah to set our intention. And this melody is actually from Israel. There are Reform liberal communities springing up all over Eretz Yisrael. And this is one of the communities, Beit Tefillah Israeli. And this is their melody for Psalm 51. Ya la 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 la, 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 Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'koneh hakol V'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot U'mevi geula livnei v'neihem Lema'an shemo be'ahava Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol atah Rav lahoshia morid hatal mechakel chayim bechesed mechayei hakol berachamim rabim somech noflim verofech oholim umatir asurim umekayem emunato lishenei hafar michamocha bal givurot umidom elach melech meimit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'nemanat halachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We continue the Amidah prayers silently, or the prayers of our own hearts. Please be seated as you wish.
The Shabbat is the first Haftarah of consolation, which is chanted the Shabbat after the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av. It's called Shabbat Nachamu, the Shabbat of comfort, after the first word of the Haftarah, which is said twice, Nachamu, Nachamu. The text stresses God's heavenly word of comfort and restoration and reorients the people toward Zion. God's presence will guide the renewal of God's people in their homeland. Nachamu. Nachamu, Nachamu. Ami Yomar Elohechem, 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 comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle in this world. Nachamu, Nachamu. Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu. Ami Yomar Elohechem, comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle in this world. Nachamu, Nachamu. Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu. Ami Yomar Elohechem.
Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom. Let me hear you. Shabbat Shalom. Such sweet sound to hear again. So, I don't know how many of you remember, but before this magazine was online, it was called Moment Magazine. We used to receive our magazines in the mail. And now most of mine I get online. And Moment Magazine just ran an article that I thought was really interesting. They approached a number of Jewish prominent individuals and asked them their favorite Jewish joke that represents something important within Judaism. So a lot of the jokes were things we've heard before. But there was one, and I thought I'd heard most Jewish jokes before. Usually people share those with rabbis. I don't know if you're aware of this. So William Novak, who was the co-author of the Big Book of Jewish Humor, some of you may remember, it's a wonderful book. There were 2 volumes of it. told this as his story. There's a seriously Orthodox family that is very unhappy that they have a rebellious, entitled 26-year-old daughter who still isn't married. And so they finally convince her to have a shadchan, a matchmaker. So the matchmaker comes in and asks all the right questions. What are you looking for? Asks the parents, asks the woman. She says, of course, she wants someone who's well-educated, attractive, spirited, intelligent, with a good sense of humor, high earning capacity, all the normal things you would want in a perfect husband. And so 3 weeks later, the shadchan comes back and says he's found the perfect match for this woman. His name is Moshe. He is good-looking, he's educated, comes from a wonderful family, eager to have children. He meets all the requirements. He's a doctor on top of it. Parents are listening to this. They're already planning the wedding. And the girl, she's hesitant. And the shadchan says, what is it that bothers you? She said, well, there was one other question that I meant to ask you. And he said, well, okay. And she said, well, is he a good lover? Is he good in bed? Now, the parents were shocked that she would ask this question. But the shadchan didn't seem to be fazed. And he looked at her and said, is he good in bed? Some say yes, some say no. Laughter is good to hear also. Some people look at the world, some say yes, some say no. Some people look at humanity, some say yes, some say no. Some people look at the future, some say yes, and some say no. Some people look at themselves, and some people say yes, and others say no. The entirety of the book of Deuteronomy, which is the book we're in now, and I would say, in fact, the entirety of our tradition can be summed up in one word, a Hebrew word, bechira, choice. As Rabbi Davis mentioned earlier, choice, to choose. Rabbi Akiba says that free will is given. It's a gift. It's ours. How do we view other people? How do we view the world? And God begs us, uvacharta b'chaim, choose life. Can't command us to do it because we have free will. But God begs us, choose life. It's a choice. It's how we want to view the world. We're in a kind of confluent moment in the Hebrew calendar and the secular calendar. You know that tonight is the official, actually it happened this morning, but it's being viewed tonight, the opening of the Olympics in Tokyo. Some of you may have already seen some of the highlights of it, which were, I think, shown at 7 o'clock this morning. Now, the Olympics are a glorification of Greek philosophy, of the exaltation of nature, of the human body, of the glorification of the human mastery of nature. It is secularism in its highest, as we find most commonly in the university. And this Shabbat, as Rabbi Davis said, is Tu B'Av, right? Love Day. It's in our calendar. It's the same exact day, this Shabbat, the day we officially declare love as a value. Now, I want to say that this is really an important day. We don't really see it in the same context as many of the other holidays, but it's kind of our official opening of the season of comfort. As you heard from the cantor, Nachamu Nachamu is the first of 7 haftarot. 7 weeks in a row, we're going to hear from the prophets telling us to be comforted, to remind ourselves of the good things. Now, we just came off of 3 weeks of the darkest time in our calendar, when we've relived all the tragedies, all the terrible things that have happened to our people, the destructions of our holy spaces, the expulsion of our people from many countries, the slaughter of entire communities. We looked at all that for 3 weeks, and we culminated it with Tisha B'Av last week. And we fasted, some of us, but we mourned. This is the beginning of the end of that mourning and the beginning of rising to Rosh Hashanah, to the new year. Each Rosh Hashanah is a yearly opportunity for each of us to renew, to refresh, and restart, to get back at making ourselves and the world a better place. One of my favorite characters on TV, it's an old show now, but it reruns all the time. The character is Adrian Monk. How many of you watch Adrian Monk? Come on out there. How many of you watch Adrian Monk? Anyway, I love the character, but one of the things he says often, he has this ability to see things that nobody else sees, and therefore he's able to solve crimes. But he says when people ask him about this ability of his, he says it's a blessing and a curse. Well, his wife Trudy used to say something back at him when he said it was a blessing and a curse. She said, "No, Adrian, it's not a blessing and a curse. It's a gift. It's a gift. And each of us has it. Because just as Monk sees the world uniquely, so do you and I. No one sees the world the way I do. No one sees it the way you do. Each human being sees the world uniquely and chooses how to see the world. Chooses how to view the world. Some say yes, and some say no. Some people find meaning in nature. They look to nature and they see it there, because some people struggle with the notion of religion. And in nature, they look at it. Maimonides, our man who is a great philosopher and speaks about Judaism and nature, says that when a person contemplates God's wondrous and great works and creations and sees in them infinite wisdom, immediately one loves and praises and exalts and yearns with an overwhelming yearning to know God. Jewish tradition embraces nature. We don't reject it, but we see it as a manifestation of the divine gifts to us, of the gifts of the world God has given. Now, I love reading science books, even those written by atheists. I love reading about the intricacies. And every time I read one, even if I don't totally understand it, I am awed. I am awed by the beauty and the detail that is so much a part of the world around us. And it confirms for me the existence of a creator. And watching athletes in the Olympics overcome their limitations, striving to do their best, it inspires me with greater faith. Now, there are only 3 people out of all the athletes in any one event that will stand on the podium. Only 3. But all of them strive. All of them try. All of them try to be better than they were yesterday. Our Torah portion this week, as you heard, is Ve'etchanan. It has the Shema and Ve'ahavta. I want you to know how I learned the Ve'ahavta. I was 11 years old, and I had a Hebrew teacher who had a stopwatch. That's how I learned it, because he would time us to who could go through it the fastest. Now, I usually took second place because Ben slurred the words. I don't care what he said. And he always beat me. But of course, that was a long time ago. I've let that go. I'd like to read a little of it with you right now, but a little more slowly. And I want to dissect a couple of sections of it, the beginning, and see it as a fundamental way that our tradition asks us to embrace, particularly love. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. God says, you shall love God. How? With all of your levavcha, all of your emotions. Nafshecha, all of your intellect. Me'odecha, all of your physical being. V'hayu hadavarim ha'ele, and all of these things, asher anochi mitzavcha hayom, which are given to you this day, where? Have them al levavecha, on your heart. I don't know how many of you saw the movie My Octopus Teacher. One of the most touching scenes in that, this is a man, Craig Foster, who develops a relationship with an octopus. And at one point, He's swimming, and the octopus adheres herself, to his bare chest and is there hugging him on his chest. This is in the wild. This wild animal has bonded with him and is on him. And together, there's this moment where they are having a kind of spiritual commitment to each other. And you can feel the emotions of that moment. Al levavecha, to have this tradition of love on your heart, like that octopus was there, present, to feel it all the time. Where should our emotions be? These matters should lodge on our heart. And when? B'shach b'chav kumecha, at all times, from summertime, porgy and bess, morning time and evening time, summertime and wintertime, all the time. It should be there on our chest, on our heart, reminding us. When we're in our home, it says, V'shivtecha b'veitecha, quietly, meditating, studying, reading, thinking. Baderech, on the way, in nature, in the office, in the theater, on the baseball field. It should be present on our hearts. Our heart is the pump that keeps us alive. Placing the values we have on our heart is the pump that should drive the choices we make. So once again this year we have 7 weeks to prepare, to get our souls ready to re-embrace the tradition that has generated the life of our people for thousands of years. Whether you believe in God or not, our Jewish tradition is founded on the notion that we each choose our way of viewing the world. And our tradition, God, begs us to embrace love with all our being and to commit to bringing love into the world, a world in need of healing. Once a year, we're given another chance to learn to do it better. Choice is a gift and a blessing if we see it and if we seize it. Ve'ahavta, love. Uvacharta b'chayim, choose life. And happy Tu B'Av, love, love, love. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love is a good thing. And there are so many people that we love. And at this moment, we think about those people that are in need of healing, both that we love and that we don't even know. There are so many people that are in need of healing of body and healing of spirit. And so if at this moment, if there's a name that you would like to be added to our prayers, I'll ask you here in the congregation to please speak those names out loud. And those of you who are online, I invite you to type those names into the chat box as you're able to do, as well for those of you at home to just speak those names out loud. So yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we certainly are praying for all those who have been injured and hurt and traumatized through the collapse of the condo in Surfside. We continue as well to pray on behalf of the American and Israeli soldiers who are missing in action or being held captive or need of physical and emotional healing. We pray Misha Barak. It's found on page 253.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mikor habracha leavoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu bekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
As we think about healing, some of us are so grateful that healing has taken place in our lives. And this is a moment of gratitude, of recognizing that life is good through words of Shekianu. And so if you are in the midst of love or celebration, you have a birthday, an anniversary, what do we have good that's going on in our lives? And those of you at home, I invite you to write your good stuff into the chat boxes as well. What do we got?
Very proud to say that tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of my wife's conversion.
1-year anniversary of becoming a Jew. That's a good one. Beautiful. Others? Yes. 21st anniversary of being at Temple Beth Shalom. You're an adult now. Yeah.
I'm so happy that Mark is in northern Israel for 2 weeks and having some really wonderful spiritual time.
Beautiful. Being in Israel and happy that your spouse is there. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, others. Okay, so let's all rise. Put your arms around the people that are near you, or put your elbows next to them as you can, and let's pray Shekianu, how blessed we are that we made it to this moment here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Remain standing and turn to page 282 for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol latet gedula liotzer bereshit shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kimishbechot ha'admonam shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nehemar v'haya Adonai למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Take a few moments now to remember all those who came before us, those who may have died in years past at this season, those who may have died in recent days. As a congregation, we remember the more than 6 million men, women, and children who were murdered in the Shoah and the Holocaust. Remember those who died in the struggle to reestablish the modern state of Israel so that we have a homeland for us. Remember as well those who perished in the name of liberty, freedom, justice, and righteousness. And we remember the innocent victims of hatred, ignorance, terrorism, disease, violence, natural disasters, and collapse of buildings. On this Shabbat, we remember friends and family whose yortzites are being observed and whose names have lovingly been inscribed on plaques which are in our alcove of remembrance. Remember Abraham Anson, Irving Blasberg, Ann Rose Broad, Isaac Camber, Rebecca Cooperman, Esther Fine, Bernard D. Friedman, Benjamin Gill, Nettie Goldstein, Lena Greenberg, Anna Kaplan, Joellen Levinson, Donald Natapow, David Provis, William Rubin, Dr. Walter G. Saul, Henry Cizarek, Maxine Hope Cronish-Snyder, Leon Srago, Jeffrey Steele, Bernice Kaplan Strauss, Matilda R. Weinstein, and Elaine Weisberg. Remember as well friends and family whose yortzites are being observed at this time. Remember Lori Burns, Rona Robinson Blaze, Sarah Boris, Catherine Bowers, Molly Brothers, Karen Cooper, Louis Dan, Eli Galitz, Alan Gerson, Joe Goldberg, Louis Lazarus Julian, Helen Kay, Isaac Klein, Nicholas Kupferman, Brian Mitchell, Isaac Morris, Shelby Zeal Newhouse, Yehuda Neer, Reba Robinson, Ruth Swade Russo, Mildred Schreiber, Simon Schlane, Sarah Shrinsky, Leon J. Simpkins, Ann Sir, Rose Starr, and Julia Yudkoff. And we remember as well friends and family who've died in recent days, and their families remain in the shloshim of mourning, in the 30-day period of mourning. Remember Francisco Amador, Sylvia Binkowitz, Muriel Dubrow, Jocelyn Berman, and Paul Nicholas Balland. And we remember as well the many victims that died in Surfside just less than a month ago. We remember Stacy Don Fang, Antonio and Gladys Lozano, Manuel Lafont, Andreas Giannopoulos, Leon Olowicz, Christina Beatrice Elvira, Nancy Kress Levin, Jay Clayman, Frank Kleiman, Anna Ortiz, Luis Bermudez, Michael David Altman, Hilda Noriega, Marcos Lucia and Emma Guerra, Annalie Rodriguez, Magali Elena Delgado, Bonnie and David Epstein, Claudia and Maria Benefoy, Stella Graciela Gino Graciela Andrea Catarossi, Gonzalo Torre, Simon Siegel, Gary Cohen, Ingrid and Svi Ainsworth, Francis Fernandez, Elaine Leah Zappino, Juan Alberto Mora Jr., Juan Alberto Mora, Rusian Manashirov, Harold and Lisa Rosenberg, Gloria Machado, Maria Teresa and Richard Riverosa, Luis Lopez Moria III and Sofia Lopez Moria, Vishai Babna and Ashani Patel, Deborah Berezdevin, Benny Wise, Angela Teresa and Julio Cesar Velasquez, Ilan Nybrief, Lady Vanessa Luna Villalba, Nicole Langesfeld, Miguel and Michelle Pazos, Orasmi Gil Guerra, Anna Mora, Elena Chavez, Elena Blasser, Mariana Restrepo Eisen, Maria Gabriela Camo Font, Lorenzo de Olivia Leone, Alfredo Leone, Maria Torre, Richard Augustine, Luis Sandovinik, Edgar Gonzalez, Luis Pettengill, Alexia Maria Pettengill Lopez Moria, Anna Sofia Pettengill Lopez Moria, Arnold and Maria Notkin, Judith Spiegel, Margarita Vasquez Bello, Cassie Stratton, Fabian Nunez, Catalina Ramirez, Nicole Doran, Beatriz Rodriguez Guerra, Andre Levine, Moises Rodan Brief, Mercedes Urgeles, Raymond Urgeles, Luis Barth Topar, Valeria Barth, Mihai Radulescu, Rosa Saez, Miguel Leonardo Kaufman, Maria Papa, Anastasia Gromava, Linda March. If there's a name that I haven't mentioned and you're in a period of mourning saying Kaddish, I'll ask you to please mention those names as well, to write into the Facebook or the chat box in Zoom. Thank you. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of all the righteous in the world be a blessing, as together we rise and with one voice recite words of Kaddish found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, Bagala v'zman kariv v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alma v'yimru, Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru, Amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru, Amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all of you who mourn, comfort all who are bereaved, and send healing to all who are saddened, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Just a couple of announcements, and then we'll sing our way out of this Shabbat service into Shabbat back in our homes. And those of you who are at home, you will have a shorter journey. Just a reminder, services tomorrow morning are at 10:30. Those services are both in person and through virtual multi-access. You can log on, you can go into the website and click on a link. For those of you who are going to be here in person, we're not serving lunch tomorrow because of what's going on with the virus still. As well, we have Torah study both in person and on Zoom at 9:30 tomorrow morning, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be together and study together. You don't need reservations for any of the services, so you're welcome to come. There's enough seats in the sanctuary right now that there's plenty of room to sit and be comfortable. You can be part of the Jewish community's response to those affected by the collapse of the Champlain Towers in Surfside through the Federation's secure website, or you can contact the Jewish Community Services by calling 211. Throughout the summer, meditation will be continuing on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and Fridays at 12 o'clock. Registration online is necessary, so you can pick that up in the website. And weekly updates about Israel continue with Mark Baranek Monday at 4 o'clock. And weekly updates, meetups with Mark Baranek as well on Mondays at 4:45, and a conversation with Mr. Baranek on Thursdays at 5 o'clock. And if you can't make those times, you can just call him at the temple. He'll be happy to talk to you. Want to remind you in advance of the High Holy Days, we're putting together some video montages and invite and encourage all of you just to send in some of your pictures and some of your videos. All the instructions are on the website, and those need to be done this week as well. I want to remind you to submit your form for the virtual digital Yizkor Memorial Book by August the 6th. And for those of you who are planning really far in advance, the Temple Beth Shalom 2021 Golf Open is October 18th. Make sure you remember that. And that's it. So let's sing a little cantor.
Let's sing a prayer for wholeness and peace. Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu 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 ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
And happy Tu B'Av.